Good evening and welcome to the regular monthly meeting of the Hamlet City Council. We're glad to see everyone here and moving along to other business. First item of business is invocation. We have the Dr. Tommy LeGrand with us tonight of the Prayer and Faith Temple. And Reverend LeGrand, if you'd come forward and give us our invocation. Thank you.
Shall we pray? Let us bow our heads. Almighty God, we come this evening with thanksgiving and praise unto Thee for all your manifold blessings. It is Thee that has made us and not we ourselves. God, we thank you for bringing us through the year 2015, and here we are in the beginning of the year 2016. We know not what tomorrow holds, but God, we know that you hold tomorrow. For you are omnipotent, all power in heaven and in earth is in your hand. God, I pray that you will look upon our city council, our city citizens, our county leaders, and even the United States. And here we are, God, in times like these, facing challenges that we haven't faced before, but we know that your grace is sufficient. Grant unto us the riches of your grace. Lift us up on every side, and let there be peace among men. And let the peace of God continue among us and bind us together for a better today and tomorrow. We ask it in Jesus' name, and we thank you for it. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Our council, you have before you tonight the agenda for tonight's meeting. I would ask for a motion on that.
So move.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion, changes, etc.? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You also have before you the minutes from the December 8th regular monthly meeting. I hope you've had an opportunity to look those over. If so, I'd ask for a motion to adopt those minutes.
So move.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussions or any additions, deletions, or changes on those minutes? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. At this time, we reach the point in our meeting where we ask for comments from attendees. If you're here tonight and you have comments about something that is not on the agenda, please come forward at this time and we'll give you an opportunity to talk about it. Okay, if there is no one, we'll close comments from attendees. At this time, we'll ask under item number 6, personnel recognition by Chief Waters. Looks like he's got most of the department here tonight.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council, and citizens, city staff for letting me come up tonight and introduce our guys. I would like to recognize a promotion that we made first, and it's Sergeant Matthew Lee, if he'll come up. This is Sergeant Matthew Lee. He currently lives in Maxton, North Carolina. He attended high school at Purnell Sweat High School in Pembroke and graduated in 2008. He graduated from Richmond Community College and Robbins Community College in the basic law enforcement training. He started working for Hamlet Police Department August 2014, and he earned his position as shift sergeant in December 2015. He's done a good job for us. Next, I'd like to call up Brandon Beasley. Brandon's 23 years old. He's born and raised here in Hamlet, North Carolina, like myself. He graduated from Richmond Senior High School in 2010. He graduated in basic law enforcement training from Sand Hills Community College in August of 2015. He was sworn into our department on November 13th, 2015, and I'm honored to have him on our force. Michael Sell. Michael Sells from Rockingham, North Carolina. We won't hold that against him because go Hamlet. But anyway, we're glad to have him with us. He joined our department October 23rd. He attended high school at Richmond Senior High School in 2009, graduated in 2011. He attended Richmond Community College from 2011 to 2014. He has an associate degree and Criminal Justice from Richmond Community College. He attended Montgomery Community College from August 2014 to 2015 and graduated with basic law enforcement training. Welcome, welcome. Next, I'd like to call Miss Destiny Flores. Destiny is a mother with a 2-year-old little girl. She's currently residing in Fayetteville, North Carolina. She graduated high school from Central Carolina Community College, graduated from BLET at Fayetteville Technical Community College in May of 2015, and she was sworn in November 13, 2015 at Hamlet City. Renee, I'd like to call Renee McMillan. Renee is getting on up to my age a little bit. Renee is 41 years old. She lives in Robinson County in Maxton, North Carolina. She has 4 children. The ages are 23, 19, 17, and 12. I got you beat. I got one just turned 4. Yeah. Oh, okay. She graduated basic law enforcement training as the class leader and also in charge of flag detail. So we know who we can get to change the flags out when we need to now at City Hall. And she did that in 2008. She started a career at Scotland County Sheriff Department, where she worked as a detention officer while taking detention training. She stayed with the department at Scotland County for approximately 1.5 years. In 2009, she applied with the Field Special Force Police. In 2 years, she became a sergeant, and approximately 1 year later, she became a lieutenant. She has been employed with the Field Police for almost 4 years. While working part-time at O'Reilly Auto Parts, so she did both. So, you know, police officers have to have a couple of jobs. While maintaining her certification in the field of Force Special Police, she then applied to the Bladen County Sheriff's Office in 2012 as a detention officer, and later she moved into the courthouse where she worked as a bailiff and transported prisoners, and she's still part-time with Bladen County Sheriff's Office. She joined our department November 2nd, 2015. We're glad to have Renee.
Thank you.
All right.
At this time, we're going to have the oath of office for our Mayor Pro Tem Bowie, who was not able to be at the last meeting. Now, he was sworn in, but we need to do the ceremonial tonight.
Yes, sir.
So if you'll go down, and any family that you've got.
I'm going to actually have my grandmother's going to hold the Bible for me. I, Jonathan Bowie, do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of North Carolina
and the Constitution of the State of North Carolina
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
as council member
and as Mayor Pro Tem. So help me God.
This time we'll move along to item number 8 under old business. And tonight we have a proclamation and a presentation, a resolution of appreciation, and a key to the city for one of our outstanding citizens who has been here many years and who knows the history of Hamlet considerably well. Our proclamation tonight says, whereas Luron Earl Bradshaw was born of Josie Barksdale and Luron Blunt Bradshaw in Hamlet, North Carolina on August the 8th of 1915. And whereas Earl Bradshaw continues to reside in Hamlet, where he recently celebrated his 100th birthday. And whereas Earl Bradshaw was married to the late Betsy Bradshaw on Christmas Day in 1938, and they were proud parents. Just stand right there. Be fine. I'll be right with you. Be finished reading. Late Betsy Bradshaw on Christmas Day of 1938, they were married, and they were the proud parents of 2 daughters, Pat Maloney and Dee Dee Miller, and the grandparents of 7 grandchildren, 19 great-grandchildren, and 2 great-great-grandchildren. And whereas Earl Bradshaw owned and operated many businesses in the city of Hamlet over the years, the State Fish Company from 1932 to 1944, Bradshaw's Grocery from 1947 to 1967, Tasty Freeze from 1967 to 1972, Bradshaw's Home of the Sausage Dog from 1972 to 1980, and Bradshaw's East from 1977 to 1980. And whereas Earl Bradshaw retired in 1980 at the young age of 65, and Bradshaw's continued to be operated by his son-in-law, Bob Maloney, and whereas Earl Bradshaw continues with his gift for baking after his retirement, as he is known for baking the best pound cakes around. And whereas, in addition to being a successful entrepreneur and baker in Hamlet, Earl Bradshaw gladly found time to serve as an active member of the Hamlet Masonic Lodge, number 532, since March the 4th of 1939. And he continues to be an active member today, 66 years later. And whereas, throughout Mr. Bradshaw's long and productive life, he has earned the respect and affection of many, and has positively touched the lives from all the walks of life. Now, therefore, I, William Bayless, the mayor of Hamlet, City of Hamlet, along with the Hamlet City Council, do hereby recognize and extend our sincere gratitude to LeRon Earl Bradshaw for his lifetime investment to the Hamlet community, and in support hereof, we present to Mr. Earl Bradshaw with the key to the city of Hamlet. Could I get an approval from the council?
So move.
I've got a motion.
Second.
A second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Come on up here, Earl. Right here. Earl, this is the key to the city of Hamlet. Turn around where the cameraman is sitting here. It is. That's right. And also, here is your proclamation. You take that and hang it on the wall. Thank you. At this time, moving along to item number 9, we'll have a presentation of our auditor, Ken Anderson. Ken, thank you for coming tonight.
Every year I have this little 2-page summary that I've sort of condensed the information in, so I'd like to go over that with you. The first 2 columns that I have up at the top are the fund balance. There are 2 major funds here. There's the general fund and the water sewer fund, and you can see that I have 6 years worth of information here, And you can see that for the current year, the fund balance, this is available fund balance. You can see that it increased about 189, almost $190,000 for the year. Also, I have the percentages in there, and that's the percentage of available fund balance compared to expenditures, general fund expenditures. State requires a minimum of 8%, and at the current year, at 6/30/2015, you have 41.4, so you're about 5 times over the required minimum. The water sewer fund, you can see that overall that's increased through the years. This year it's down a little bit overall. Below that, we've got property tax collection information, and you can see the rates have been good here overall, but this year was actually the best rate. It was 96.61%. Excluding vehicle, that's property tax collections. That's the collections that are done here. That was 96.2. It was up about 0.26 1/100% over last year. And then, of course, the vehicle tax. That is now collected by the Department of Motor Vehicles, and you can see the increase in collections through the last few years on that. If we'll go to the next page. This is referencing the audit report on page 1. You have the independent auditor's report. The city received unmodified opinion, which in essence is a good report. It means the financials are not materially misstated. Item 2, page 17, this is the general fund, and you can see the current year revenues exceeded expense, and in essence it's an increase, $326,292. Item 3 on page 19, this is the water sewer fund. There was actually a decline in there of $148,594. And then item 4 on page 46, this is your debt. And the city does not have a lot of debt, but the governmental activities, which is the general fund, you started the year off about $136,000 and ended the year off $121,000. So it was a decrease of approximately $15,000. There again, that's in the general fund. And then below that, the business type funds, that's the water sewer fund. That started the year at about $626,000 and it ended up $508,550. So you decreased debt in the water sewer fund $117,451. The compliance audits, a lot of years there are additional compliance single audits we have to do on like a community development block grant and things of that nature. PAL bill, I know we've had to do that in the past. This year there were no monies, grant monies, that were subject to compliance audits. The report itself has been submitted to local government commission, has been accepted. It took us a little longer this year to do it. There was a new pronouncement, GASB 68, where we're now required to list on your financials the units portion of retirement expenditures. That was new this year. I have 19 of these, so that sort of threw things off a little bit, caused a little bit additional time. The AFIR, which we also do for the city, that's been completed and submitted to the state, and that's been approved also. The only thing I have to say, Jill, she does a good job, and information was timely and good order. We had no budget over expenditures this year. So I think everything went well. And as far as the fund balance, I think it's very strong here as far as the numbers go. Have any questions, I'll be more than happy to.
Thank you,
Try to
Ken. Does anyone have any questions of Mr. Anderson? If not, thank you so much.
Thank
We certainly
you.
appreciate what your firm does for us. It's excellent, and we do appreciate what Jill has.
Okay, thank you.
Council, the next item of business is, we're moving into new business now, is item number 10. It's consideration of an ordinance for demolition at 223 to 225 Spring Street. Do you have any comments on that tonight, Gail? Nothing? Okay. Anybody got any questions of Gail on this?
I don't really have any comments. I think your agenda notes kind of explain everything, but just requesting that this would be our second project that we will be starting on. So if you have any questions for me, I'll be glad to answer them.
Where are we on the apartments? You're trying to get somebody out of that one?
Yes, and we are working with Marcus. We are in the process of finding someone to do our minimal housing enforcement for us. So we've got a couple options that has not been selected yet. So the first project that we have is 109 Spring Street, which they are to start demolition on it next Tuesday. We got our permit from the state last week, and the contractor is coming in this week to sign the contract. So that one will start on Tuesday because we're closed Monday. And then we will start with the permit process with this one as well, if council agrees to give the ordinance to demolish.
Thank you. Council, I need a motion to approve this ordinance directing the building inspector to remove the property.
So move.
Got a motion? Got a second? Any further comments? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The next item of business, item number 11, is the ratification of additional employee holiday pay, December the 28th of 2015. And according to your notes that you'll have in front of you, you notice that if we want to make this permanent, that we need to go ahead and vote on it.
So move.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The next item of business, item number 12, is updates to personnel policy. City manager comments.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. What you just did in the previous item ratified.
The holidays.
Yep, the holidays, and gave an extra holiday to the employees, and that was initiated. I just wanted to state for the record that was initiated by you guys, and I wanted to thank you guys so much for that. But this item right here is a recommendation to permanently change the personnel policy and reword it to where employees will get 3 days at Christmas, no matter what day Christmas Day falls on. Our current policy says that the employees shall be paid Christmas Eve and Christmas Day unless Christmas Day is during the week, such as Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If it's on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, then the employees get the day after. But as you can see here, well, new language is written in red, and language to be removed is written in red and struck through. And all I've done is just add to it so that on Sunday, Monday, Friday, and Saturday, if Christmas falls on either of those days, an additional day will be given to the employees. Do you have any further questions?
No, we're good on that one. Let's go with the compensation for business travel.
This next recommendation would put into policy the allowance of employees to have their lodging paid for on the night before their training. A lot of times we will send employees up to training, and some of these are required to get required certifications that are directly related to performing their job. And sometimes we send employees all the way up to Morganton, North Carolina, or we send them to Salemburg, North Carolina, or Edneyville. And the drive is 3-4 hours down the road, and if their training starts early in the morning, that's a little bit too early for them to be getting on the road. So this will allow the city to compensate the employee for lodging on the night before their training, and I put a few guidelines in there, and I looked at a few other towns' policies. A lot of the other towns' policies are somewhat vague, like ours is. But the one or two guidelines to keep in mind would be that I put in there that lodging expenses can be covered on the night before a scheduled travel event, and this should be considered when the travel begins before, when the travel event begins before 9 a.m. and the travel time is more than 1.5 hours. So in other words, if the employees or if a course is before 9 a.m. and the travel time is more than 1.5 hours, that would meet the criteria for an employee to have his or her lodging covered the night before their training. I also put in there that travelers are expected to use good judgment and follow physical prudence when making reservations, and that we would pay for the standard room rate. If an employee wanted to upgrade to, like, something more than just the standard room that's available, they would need to cover that additional cost.
With that being said, how often does it happen that we have employees traveling?
It's not all that often, but the police department does send employees from time to time to get their basic or advanced law enforcement certification. We send our water and wastewater operators to get the certifications that they need for their jobs. Maybe 20 to 25 events per year. I don't know. I would open up the floor to some of our department heads to comment to give you some better clarification.
I just wonder, I mean,
Nothing necessary.
yeah,
I
that's,
make a motion that we accept the updates as presented.
yeah,
I just have one question. What if
yeah.
you said
Still
9
got
a.m.?
questions on it.
You said 9 a.m. hour and a half.
Prior, yeah, I'd say an hour.
What I mean, well,
Hour and a half.
what if it's 9 and a 3-hour drive? Is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, if it's
What if it starts at 9 and it's a 3-hour drive?
that's a good point. And
you,
this is
with what you
yeah,
got,
Yeah,
they wouldn't be able to do it because it doesn't start before 9.
that's a good point. That's a very good point, Councilman McQueen.
Well, that's
I just
why you
came.
go the day before, wouldn't you? The night before.
Yeah, but he put in there that if
That's what we're
it's
saying, though, it's not read that way.
Yeah,
That's what it said.
the guidelines that I put in the policy was that employees' lodging expenses on the night before their training would be covered if their training started before 9 a.m. and their travel time is longer than 1.5 hours. So we can table this and maybe look at this again next month. I'm open to whatever
Ms.
suggestion.
One way you might want to handle it is just leave it as it's written, and then maybe write in a sentence that says something like, the manager can approve other circumstances on a
Yeah.
case-by-case
I would
basis.
agree.
There you go.
'Cause otherwise, you're going to be trying to
That's right.
Yeah.
slice it. So, I mean,
Common
that-
sense.
that'd be
Common
what I would-
sense.
I think there's just a lot of verbiage in there just where it should be, you have to it's at your discretion to determine.
Because I like what Marcus has. It's a
Yeah.
good, consistent policy, but there's always going to be something that doesn't fit the
Yep.
rule.
And one last question I have: what if the person that's going to the training does not have the means or the credit card or whatever to make the reservation? Is the city not making any reservations?
That's what I was
normal.
asking.
For all
Not
of
everyone is.
for all other travel reimbursements, such as a meal reimbursement for a multi-day trip, the city reimburses after the fact, after the employee goes on the training and then comes back with the itemized receipts. We reimburse for that after the fact, but there is a sentence in there that says that the city will register the employee prior to the event for hotel costs, because hotel costs are more, $100 or more. It's kind
Yeah,
of
some
an
of our
expense.
employees wouldn't be able to pay it up front.
Yeah, but did I not read that they're expected to?
That's what I thought I read. That's why I was asking
The way you
earlier.
said it, it was like they
It
were
was
going
like
to
they're
do
responsible
the
for it.
hotel reservation.
Okay.
Whereas it should be like the department head or
I see
like
that.
that.
I see the section where it says travelers are expected to use good
That's
judgment
what got
and
me. Yeah.
physical prudence
They're
when
good
making
judgment, maybe a
reservations.
5-star hotel where,
Or they may not have, a lot of folks don't use credit cards.
I know. Most places, I think they can apply for travel advance, can't they?
Most of them are gonna have a government rate. that
Yeah.
you'll
Right.
be able to qualify for.
I guess if you just correct those sentences.
I've got it written in here that where it says hotel reservations can be made prior to the event at the discretion of the city. Is that adequate or?
It should be.
Okay.
And the next sentence says the city will provide reservations or reimburse up to the standard hotel rate. So I think, just picking on the police department, officer doesn't have a credit card, he could just ask shift sergeant or chief to make the reservation.
Yeah.
I mean, just as long as that's available, that's my concern.
Okay.
Would you amend your, to include those changes?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Second.
And I got a second.
So,
Okay.
so the only, just so that our clerk has it clear, the only change is just add a sentence that says the manager may approve other reservations in his or her discretion.
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Thank you. Okay. Next item of business is tax releases. And you have before you the tax releases for this month. And I would ask for a motion on that.
So move.
Got a motion?
Second.
And a second? Any further discussion on tax releases? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Thank you. Item number 14, mayoral. Item number 14, mayoral proclamation, Martin Luther King Day, Jr. I have before me a proclamation. Whereas Monday, January the 18th of 2016, has been designated as a national holiday honoring the late Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr., an American who dedicated his life to the fundamental principles of freedom, opportunity, and equal justice for all. And whereas today all Americans benefit from Dr. King's work and his legacy of courage, dignity, and moral clarity, and whereas on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, Dr. King spoke passionately of his dream for America, whereby all citizens would be judged by the content of their character and not by the color of their skin, where all citizens would enjoy the riches of freedom and security of justice, and where the doors of opportunity would be open to all mankind. Now be it resolved that I, William Bayless, Mayor of the City of Hamlet, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim Monday, January the 18th of 2016 as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day in the City of Hamlet, and encourage all citizens to observe this day with appropriate activities and programs that honor the memory and the legacy of Dr. King. And item number 15 is next, appointment of council representative to the Lumber River Council of Government. I have a motion for someone.
Make a motion that we appoint Jonathan Bowie
Okay, got a
as
motion?
the representative to the Lumber River Council of Government.
I need a second.
Second.
Got a second? Will you accept it if you're?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay. He's replacing Mr. Cluess, who went off council.
Mayor, it's not on there, but we need to do a alternate as well.
Okay. I'll take motions on that this time.
I'll make a motion to have David Lindsay do the alternate position if he would.
Second that.
Got a motion? Second. Will you accept it if?
Am I going when he can't go?
Yeah.
You can go when he goes. All right, I got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you.
Don't worry, I'll go.
This time we go to item number 16 under other business for departmental reports. Fire chief, you got anything for us tonight? Okay. Police chief? Okay. Mr. Stubbs, you got anything? Gail, do you have anything for us? Okay. Zach? Robert? Not making much progress, am I? Jill? Tammy? Oh, okay. Mr. Morphus, do you have anything else for us right now? Nothing? Okay. How about the city manager then?
Nothing to report at this time.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
I think
Oh, no, your time's up. Sorry.
one thing we do have though, Monday the 18th is a holiday, so there'll be no employees at the city on Monday.
the
Other
garbage
than-
schedule will not be altered.
Okay.
No alterations in the garbage schedules.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think that might.
Okay. This time I'll begin with item number 18, comments of council. Mr. Lindsay?
Well, everybody passed, but I got a question from Marcus. We had software that y'all had bought for utilities that you were talking to us about in the budget meeting. Can it do letter-type bills? We have a communication problem with our citizens. I didn't know if it was available off of that software since y'all just purchased it. I know Laurinburg has a letter-type bill, so you can have a section that you send out information, garbage pickups changed or holidays, ball field, ballpark seasons and that kind of thing. I know it would cost some money to get a folding machine and probably a paper stuff, but I know Mr. Bowie's talked about it in the past about trying to communicate with the citizens, and your water bill's going to everybody that every household in town.
That, I don't know the answer to that, but one thing, what we will do is contact Southern Software and organize a meeting and see if that is, if we're capable of doing so.
Saying something.
It will. Okay.
But you're talking about a pretty good increase in cost.
For mailing.
4,000 letters
Mailing.
Well, I mean, I went on the internet and a folding machine was $200 or $300. Now, a folding stuffing machine was a couple thousand. Ms. Massagee brought up, we were discussing it. You probably have the ability also to do email or email out bills, so that could offset the cost. But again, we have a communication problem with our citizens. You've got people dumping furniture out on the street that we have to pick up, but we have an ordinance or a policy for it. But this would be a way to communicate. It would probably be the cheapest way we could communicate with our citizens and make sure whether they read it or not, we can't force them to. But again, I understand there would be more expense, but again, if
It can be a gain as well, though, because if they're actually following the policies and stuff like that, it saves on our end as far as manpower hours. And stuff.
but I know it's not outrageous for the equipment that I looked at, and you got 35 characters at this point on
You
water
can just
bill.
staple them and mail them, can't you?
But
Have to stuff them in envelopes.
again, you
Yeah.
look into the whole. I mean, I'm not saying do it.
It's
Just
something we consider before.
sure look into see what the costs were, so we can make a decision. Especially if your software does it, and then Marcus could send out a little note every month to what was going on or anything from council.
Okay.
Did you
I
say Laurinburg
think it's
did
a
it?
great idea.
I know Laurinburg does it. The county.
It would
county
make it a
does
better way to shine, too, because, I'll be honest. When I get my bill, I only look at the number. If it looks right, I pay it. I don't read. So have that where, you know it's something different than normal.
The county also does letter mailing. Call them. I don't know what Rockingham does. I'm sure it'd be easy to find out, but and Mr. Morphus might have some of his clients that do it and could pass on some information who might do it. But if the software does it, it seems like that would be the first step, the easy step. And I know it could, can't happen tomorrow, but at least we'd know what it might cost. Anything else, Marcus, on that? business in town, want to pass that on. Blessed Hands Thrift Store and Ministries on Hamlet, that'd be West Hamlet Avenue. 2 stores down from Bill Belt's Auto, across from the hardware, across from the Grab. Went in there and talked to Gail, Crystal Strickland. I don't know if she's kin, but so another thrift store in town, another building that's not empty. So I'll pass it.
That it?
I'm sorry.
Mr. McQueen?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Ms. Maskey?
Okay.
Mr. Martin? Okay.
Well, y'all gonna make me
Yes, sir, Mr. Bowie.
All right, mine's a little longer because I missed last month, which, by the way, extremely apologize for not being able to be here. In my 4-year term, that was only the 2nd meeting that I missed. But I had, obligations at work, tried in every way possible to move the council meetings numerous times, but we couldn't find a date because it's hard to in December. So, anyway, I missed it. Sorry, I'm here tonight. I am honored to have Mr. Bradshaw here with us. That was really nice getting him here and all, and he's done a lot for the city of Hamlet. So I was happy to have him here with us, and he stayed even after getting the key. He stayed with us. So I guess he's going to lock up for us when we all leave. Some of the Christmas events, just wanted to kind of thank a few people. The Main Street and Hamlet Avenue Christmas events, Miss Bernice Owens, I want to thank her for all her effort in putting that together. Then they don't get credit because they're always called the HDBA, but they're the Hamlet Downtown Business Association Parade Committee, which is Alan Thomas, Deb Holmes, Ron Mayo, Kim Lindsay, and David Lindsay, that committee for the parade. And the ones who helped put on the parade, Zach Garner did some work for us there as far as the electronics go and getting that on video for us. Oscar Sellers, Jane McCall, Robin Wise, Max DeGaulle, Bill Cleveland, Reba Deal, Councilwoman Massagee, Sam Ballard, Patricia Black, and the Richmond Community College Student Government Association. And then we had some of our very own that had a lot to do with the parade. It's Charles Yates, Alan Cox, and Doc Sylvain. It's good we recognize these people because it's hard to get volunteers. I feel like we should recognize them. If I missed anybody, I apologize. You know what you did, and we want to thank you for what you do to put on that event, because it's certainly it can get chaotic if you don't have the right people doing it. So thank you for doing that. And other than that, a little winded, but I missed last month, so I had to make up for it.
The only thing I can do is tell you how much I appreciate that, because I was going to say the same thing you did about all these people that helped put on everything at Christmas. I appreciate all the work that our employees did last year. They just put out an extra effort. I'm glad we were able to give them an extra holiday at Christmas time. A lot of times we see them out there, they do the same thing day after day, and we don't really pay enough attention to them. So if you see them out there, always thank them for what they do. I know myself that they go the extra effort, extra mile to do things for people when they ask. And you don't get that in larger cities. So we do appreciate what the employees do.
I did have one more thing.
Okay.
I did miss December's meeting, but the most important thing I promised some of our workers that I was going to get out there with them. So the Tuesday before Christmas, during my vacation, I got up and actually I was there at 5:30 at the shop downtown at the shop. Rode the garbage truck for about an hour and a half in the pouring down rain, got soaking wet, but I got to learn what they do. So which tells me to tell you, please put your trash in a bag. Don't just throw it in the garbage can, because that makes for a mess. Please do that. And it's also easier if you have the handles facing toward where they're going to grab it. That makes it a little easier too. And so I got to do that, and I rode on the limb truck and the leaf truck. So I got to see what these guys do. They all were apologetic for me having to do it in the rain, but I told them that makes you have more respect for what they do. So it's a heck of a job. I couldn't imagine it being like 30 degrees riding in the rain. But anyway, I do want to thank them for taking the time, and Billy for taking the time to let me do that. That was really interesting to do. So I know a lot of people think, really? But yeah, it was. You get to see what they do day in and day out. So I think the only people I have left is the fire department, and I'm gonna have to do a sleep-in with them, so we're gonna figure it out how, I'll have to get up when they call me, so. But other than that,
Get one of those busy days when they run solid 24 hours on those calls.
but
The
Thank
one
you.
last thing that I have is our congratulations from the City Council to the January Business of the Month, which is TRG Signs out on Highway 74 and 38. And good company, good people, and I'm glad they're the Business of the Month. So thank you. At this time, item number 19, I need a motion to go into closed session for North Carolina General Statute 143, 318, 11A, 3, 5, and 6 for attorney-client privilege to discuss contract for land acquisition and personnel matters.
so
have-
moved.
I have a motion.
Yes, sir.
I have a second. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay. Do we want to stay in here or we want to go in there? Got a second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. If there's no further information or anything, we did not have anything to vote on as a result of closed session. If there's no further business, motion to close. Got a motion to close?
Second.
And a second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.